Okay, here we are for the Escape Audio Commentary. I am Shane M. White. I am the writer and director.
I'm Zach Proctor. I'm one of the other producers and assistant DP.
And I'm Jason L. Maier, and we are, I'm Vincent Hardin in this movie.
So, we're happy that this is the first audio commentary Zach's done with us. Jason and I are old pros at talking about movies together, because this is like our fourth or fifth commentary, but there's not a lot going on really in this scene. It's just all the voiceover, Jason being on the phone.
What is that object in front of the phone?
What is that object?
It's a
wine
gift,
topper.
a wine topper that we got from the Heartland Film Festival.
And we filmed this scene the day after we got it, and so we just figured we'd throw it in there for the fun of it. But I kind of just wanted to be this scene that's kind of bizarre. You don't really know what's going on. Focusing on the telephone, focusing on Jason talking, and not really like looking at him. It's just kind of that bizarreness. That the person on the phone changing was part of our plan for being weird. And what we're about to see, the flickering light, is actually at my girlfriend's apartment. I was walking up to her apartment one night, and one of the lights was about to go out, so I ran to the car and got the camera and filmed it at kind of a weird angle so that we'd have something to possibly use. I decided I liked it enough to use it as the opening title sequence. So why don't you talk about filming, Jason, and doing all these scenes with the voiceovers?
It's kind of hard to try and remember exactly with so many voiceovers on this particular movie that which scenes coincide with which voiceovers, so that you know what kind of manner and mentality you're trying to get while you're filming, especially for these little scenes that are just, you know, in the bathroom, in the kitchen. I'm trying to think of one else. There is one. But you know, it's very hard, and it's hard to keep it all straight, especially when you're trying to work, and you know, both of us, Shane and I, had jobs, and Zach had jobs, and so we were all just, you know, working really hard, but also filming this on the side, so it was kind of tricky to keep it all straight in your head sometimes.
So, for those of you who are bizarred by the movie and don't understand it, that's kind of the purpose of it. This commentary is not going to explain it to you. We're not going to sit there and hold your hand and tell you everything. We'll point out some of the clues. The movies that are on top of Jason's television are, every one of those movies holds a clue to understanding this movie. And the cup that the bum was holding didn't come out the way we wanted it to, but it actually had the word change written on it, which sort of ends up having a double meaning. Zach, this was one of the first days of filming, and you were running the cameras, so why don't you talk about some of these angles we ended up with?
We kind of wanted to keep the three men all in the frame. The one on the left being Shane's father, and the one in the middle is being Stace. He's another filmmaker, and then Dave Lichty works at Castleton Arts on the right. Kind of wanted to work the, I don't know.
Basically, the purpose of this scene was to show these three guys and how they work together, and that's why there's very few cuts to Jason until they're actually talking about him. Most of the stuff they're saying at the beginning of the scene is just them continuing each other's sentences, and I wanted to get that across, that these guys finish each other's sentences. They work as a really good team. And we kind of turned them into an Oreo, having the darker colors on the outside and the white in the middle. And the girl that's let him in and let him out is actually Kristen, my girlfriend / fiance. But she's fun. She's hard though, because she laughs a lot. She has trouble taking the stuff as seriously as we do. So we had to do quite a few takes, both of her letting Jason in and out, because she was having trouble cracking a smile and stuff.
These scenes were really fun. We were just kind of walking around downtown Indianapolis, and they're just really nice to look at, really aesthetically pleasing, I think. The buildings are just beautiful all throughout there. This is Jason's house.
Trust me.
And
I don't think Zach was here for this.
I wasn't here for that day, no.
That was one of the days that we just kind of did it on the fly, and it was
Yeah.
Jason and I were both free. The answering machine is all done in post-production. It's actually the answering machine at my house. Jason just stood there and reacted while I told him while I read the lines to him or played them to him. You saw the movies again really quickly. Those, like I said, they play an important part in the movie, or they symbolize something important in the movie.
Considering going to Little George's.
As far as the movie goes, I mean, it was a kind of a stretch for me. First of all, you know, playing a detective and also trying to act as if I'm quite a couple of years older than I actually am. It was fun to play the part though because I mean, there's just so much other stuff that goes on, and
I want to talk about the hallway real quick, not to interrupt you, but this hallway is one that ends up in almost all of our movies. But for this one, what we did is we replaced the light bulbs with yellow light bulbs. They're like supposed mosquito bulbs. They're supposed to keep mosquitoes away from like your porches and things. We used those to kind of give it a different color and feel to it, which is actually a suggestion that Dave Lichty gave us to kind of give the scene an actual color instead of, because in all the other movies, I mean, it looks like this. It just looks, you know, like it's regularly lit. But luckily, we took Dave's suggestion, and it really makes the outside hallway look really good.
And this is Jay Jones.
Jay Jones.
He is awesome.
What was it like working with Jay that night?
oh man, working with Jay was fantastic. Getting to know him a little bit outside of filming. This is the first time I actually met him was for the night of filming at Castleton Arts, and then but getting to know him outside of filming was really fun. He's a hilarious guy. He actually moved out to California to pursue his acting career and his comedian career. But it's hilarious because somebody who's so funny can also take it so seriously when he needs to. So I mean, not as big of a caliber, but you know, it kind of reminds me of a Tom Hanks kind of person who has this hilarious side to him. But you know, I think Jay Jones, if we actually put him in some serious roles, the more I've been thinking about it, the more I think he could have pulled it off. It's a shame he moved away so quickly after us meeting him, because we could have used him a lot more in more of our films. You know, we've only filmed one. We've started filming To Change the World. Now we're in the middle of filming it, so I mean, it would have been interesting to have him in it. But you know, for any future projects as well, I think he's a great on-screen presence. He kind of reminds you of that Michael Clark Duncan guy. He's just huge, and you know, he's just an awesome presence on screen, I think.
Man, Jay was a fluke that he ended up in the movie. The part was actually written for another guy that was in one of our other movies called The Chrome Lady that Stace directed. But the part was written for a gentleman named Leonard. But due to some contact issues, it was coming down to, you know, right around the beginning of filming, and Leonard had read the script and liked it and wanted to do it, but we were just having trouble getting a hold of each other. So probably about a week before filming, I met Jay through some friends who told me that he was, you know, a big actor and wanted to do stuff. And I gave Jay a copy of the script and said, "There's this one part that if I don't fill, I'm going to need somebody to fill it. Will you do it?" And after he read the script, he gave me a call, and we talked for probably over an hour about the character of Little George and how much he liked it, and he had all these ideas for things he could bring, because the character of Little George really was originally written as more of a laid back kind of guy that was just, you know, he's a lot different. I can't even remember now what I was thinking when I wrote it, because all the talks that Jay and I had about the character completely changed my outlook on who I wanted Little George to be, because he read things differently than I intended them when I wrote it. So when he would be like, "Well, I think I'd say it this way because that's who I see Little George to be," it really helped me, because writing so many characters, I have some trouble sometimes getting so into, you know, a specific character. Like Vincent, I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into, but some of the other supporting characters, I relied heavily on my actors to bring something to them, and Jay was wonderful, and the scene right here was a lot of fun. We did it from 3 different angles, and basically I told Jay I needed him to improv, because it was during Jason's voiceover. So on the set I was like, I just need you to improv, just make stuff up, and he made up some of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, and he just improv a bunch of comedic stuff, and you know, it was hard for me not to break a smile, but it was a lot of fun.
That was the budget for a movie, by the way, that was on the table. 20
Yeah, it
with
was
a bunch of ones wrapped around it.
No, it was 20 and just a bunch of pieces of paper.
Pieces of paper.
Yeah.
All right.
If you look on the wall, you see the names Michael, Sonny, and Freddie. Those are references to The Godfather. That I just thought.
And that board is still up.
Oh, that board is still up there, I guess.
It's still up.
This actually wasn't originally an office. This is in the Castleton Arts movie theater, and it was originally a storage room. But my girlfriend Kristen and I went up there about a week or two before filming and cleaned it out and rearranged it and basically just moved everything into another room down the hall. But it worked as an office for a while. Here's some overexposed exteriors.
Just a little.
And Jason at his house. Crosses all to show time passing.
How many different outfits did you have, Jason?
Just two.
Just two.
Just two.
Because it all takes place in one day.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the white shirt and then the blue shirt. Same jacket, same pants. So, wanted to signify. Oh, wow. Signify. Thank you, Shane.
Oh, this is before the dolly.
Yeah, this was way before the dolly. This was Zach holding the camera over Jason's shoulder and then walking backwards, but it gives a disorienting feel to it.
It's stylistic.
Yeah, we had to do it about 10 times.
Right.
The bar music is louder outside than it is once you get inside. That was some sound editing problems.
And the lights right there. And
you see the reflection.
Yeah, but it's a bar.
True. You don't know what those lights really are. This scene really worked out pretty well. That was all done with the moving stuff right there was done on a wheelchair. Again, it was before we had a dolly. That's Brandy, a real waitress at the bar we're at, and she's been a really good sport and done quite a few of the movies we've needed waitresses for. And we got Jason just kind of looking around.
One of the great things I think about this whole movie is the lighting in it is a lot of shadows and heavy shadows, which normally you don't go for, but in this movie it kind of gives it a distinct look.
And I love how Sloan just appears out of nowhere.
It really did add to the movie.
With that specific shot, I just love it how there's complete darkness and then you hear his voice and then he comes out and he just appears, and it's almost exactly the way Shane wrote it in the script for it.
Oh yeah.
So that the character Vincent couldn't even see. Oh man, what is his name in the movie?
Patrick O'Rourke.
No, that's right, Patrick. But yeah, so the whole point of it was so I couldn't see Patrick and he could see me. And, it was cool to see him. Well, this is Sloan, and Shane, why don't you go ahead and talk about Sloan?
Sloan's the actual gentleman that owns P.S. O'Rourke's, him and another gentleman who goes by the name of Flea. The two of them actually own it, and luckily Zach and I got to be really good friends with them from going there from time to time, and they're big supporters of us. They're big supporters of a lot of independent. They do a lot of independent music there, and they're always up for helping us out with our film stuff. So Sloan really didn't want to do the movie. He doesn't consider himself an actor, even though I wrote the part for him. I really had to beg him to do it, and we pretty much had to close the set down that day. He didn't want people there that he knew, because he didn't want them to see him acting, and he didn't want a lot of people around watching it. But I mean, I think Sloan's great, and Sloan and Jason are wonderful in the 3 or 4 scenes that they have together.
Just really adds his own style to the whole. Regardless if he thinks he's an actor or not, just him. He's just such a character himself.
Oh, yeah.
You can just run the camera and just film him, and can't really tell.
You know what's hilarious to me is you think of your bartender as just being that guy behind the bar that's just your confidant and everything else, but in this movie I think he brings so much more of a presence to it. Well, and he's not even really the bartender. I guess he's just more looked at as the owner, because we never actually show him as a bartender, but it's just that he's got it, it's almost as if he is a part of the mob. It's kind of funny because he's just got such a presence, and he's like, oh yeah, you think you're bad or something, and You know, he's laid back, but he knows you can see the power in him.
Oh yeah, and that's part of. In writing the character, I knew the only way to convince him to do it is if I wrote it as close to who Sloan really is as possible. And luckily, since we know him as well as we do, when I wrote it and gave him the first draft of the movie, there's where the picture changes for the first time. You see that she's no longer a blonde, she's actually a brunette. But not a lot of people, I don't think, caught on to that right away. It's same pose, different girl. Actually, in that picture, she's wearing a really bad wig that we scrapped after the first week of production, but we had already committed to those pictures, and we were stuck with it. But like I was saying about Sloan, the only way I knew I could get him to do it is if I wrote it as close to who he really is as possible. So after he read the first script and I went back and sat down and talked to him, he goes, you know, I didn't want to do it, but the way it's written, that's exactly what I would say, so I think I can do it. And I was really happy to hear that, but luckily I got the character written close enough that when he was reading it, he could see himself saying those things and was more willing to do it than on some other movies we've asked him to do where he's had to be completely different from who he really is.
This is the this is in front of the Crackers comedy, right down the street from
Union Station.
Union Station. There again, this movie is kind of scenic with its voiceovers.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of wide shots and just this tape, really, the tape we're watching really doesn't do it justice, but the color is kind of unique and distinct.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a detective,
Yeah, I was kind of a big fan of it. I don't know, I probably one of the greatest things about this movie is we're just shooting shots around Indianapolis, all over the city, downtown area, and I don't know, I just come to realize that Indiana kind of has a distinct or a nice look to it all over. You've got the new with the old, and there's a newer building behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got this really dilapidated kind of brick building.
A lot of magazines these days, when they're doing their top 10 cities to film in America, even though Indianapolis doesn't make the top 10, we usually always get an honorable mention saying, you know, soon you're going to see them in the top 10, and I wanted to kind of utilize that with this film, and this is just the back of another building that we cut away from before he actually goes in. But I wanted to utilize a lot of, because there are some beautiful places in downtown Indianapolis, and the Wizard of Oz book laying there is another clue for those of you wanting to know those. And this is Zach's scene.
Yes, my wonderful scene.
This is
Yeah.
This is Zach's great scene. It was actually, we had an actor that was supposed to do this part as well, and at the last minute, it just fell apart. We didn't have him, so Zach's kind of our fallback guy. We usually don't cast him because we know he'll get cast eventually.
I know. I always wind up doing something. But I try my best, and I do apologize.
No.
You don't need to apologize. I think, you know, if you actually went through, like, maybe one or two little programs or something, you'd be just as good as anybody else.
Here's a hint, everybody: don't wear striped shirts on tape when you're especially when you're using tape, because disorienting.
Yes, that's a problem that we learned about.
Yeah.
But no, the acting wasn't bad in this scene. You really pull off the Weasley type character. I mean, you're very monotonous. You don't get excited. You don't get upset. You don't really care. It's just, you know, tell me what you gotta say. But I think you pulled it off really well. And I mean, you know, your pauses were great. You were like, you know, maybe it rings a bell. We got the nice pause here where you're just like, you know, are you gonna give me money or not? You're not too anxious. You're not too overzealous or anything. You're just like, you know, is it gonna happen or not?
I don't want it.
There goes the rest of our budget right there.
we
It's like $18.
$18. Wasn't it like 37 or 30? Didn't we borrow some from your brother?
Yeah, we borrowed money from everybody that was in my house. This is filmed in my basement. We borrowed money. We took everybody's cash that they had and wrote down how much everybody contributed.
Ryan.
And we actually we sort of cheated it because the first shot of Jason counting the money, he counted every dollar bill that was there, and then I cut to the second angle of him, but I started after he had done the first dollar, so it looks like he counted the money twice as much as there really was there. And then I like this because it's some parts of the movie, like the opening, I didn't
don't
want
forget about the blue
Oh,
binder.
the blue binder is the script for Consternate, which magically ended up in Consternate, and since then it's been
There
sort
was
of
a
our
script?
it's sort of been our reoccurring theme through our movies is to have a blue script somewhere involved. And
It's a picture of Tony.
yep, Tony.
I'm not a smoker by trade, so yeah, this doesn't look exactly the way I wanted it to look. So,
It still works. I mean, it adds to that because your character. This is the only scene he does smoke.
Man who let me take the
But I had to have you smoking in the movie to parallel the scene that comes up with Rusty where he smokes for the only time in the movie.
Another thing I want to mention real quick is it's kind of like the film noir style with backgrounds. We really did try and spend a lot of time using
This is the most beautiful shot in the movie. This was Zach's idea.
I kind of
He gets
nicked
full credit for it, and it's the most beautiful shot in the movie.
Yeah, I kind of nicked the idea from the French Connection when they're trailing the suspected heroin smuggler. They use a lot of mirror shots, and I don't know, it just kind of came to me when we walked by it, and I really did like the cracked glass. I really like that a lot.
And it was great because there's scenes where Jason's walking and you see two of him because of the cracked glass, and it's just when you said you tried something new and showed it to me, I thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd seen. That is the shot of the movie is Jason walking across the street in the mirror.
This is actually really fun. I'm in a wheelchair right now, being pulled.
I'm running as fast as I can to keep up with these guys.
and this is kind of funny because this is Tony Linter, who's a friend of ours, and he. I don't know. He's taller than me. He's a little bit more muscular than me. I don't know if I could actually ever take him. But
Well, that's why you got the gun.
That I've got the gun pointed at his face, so he doesn't think about moving. And
I really enjoyed this real quick. I really enjoyed that low angle shot, seeing the water tower up there, because anybody that knows Indianapolis, you don't think of water towers in downtown when you think about it, but when you're actually downtown Indianapolis, there's 3 or 4 of them around downtown that are just between 2 buildings. You'll find a water tower, and this was where was this at?
Near Mass Ave, isn't it?
College and Mass
What's
Ave.
the name of that area?
Historic?
No.
No,
I
it's not
can't
the
remember.
historic district.
No.
It's a certain section of downtown Indianapolis that's actually kind of
They have
prevalent to gay people.
yeah. Behind us, I don't know if the shot made the movie of him walking in front of it, but there's a building where they actually put on their shows. They're lovely shows every weekend.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Only spent 2 nights with
You know, I liked this. It happened on accident. Jason holding the picture, so it's Tony's face right above Tony, and I thought it was kind of nifty because it's Tony looking at Jason and them talking, but at the same time, in perfect view is Tony looking to his left towards the camera while he's talking to the girl, and I found that to be really effective, especially since it stands out when it's in black and white. What was it like to beat up Tony?
Well, I mean, obviously we didn't beat him up for real, but I mean, you know, I think he did a really good acting job as far as getting hit. So I mean, it was kind of fun, you know. But I think this whole scene works really well.
Since we don't have a huge sound budget, Jason did have his own sound effect.
Yeah.
The oomph.
The oomph.
There's Tony disappearing, adding a little more to the mystery of what's really going on in this movie. This scene right here, it honestly, is 10 feet from where the last one was filmed. Just turn the camera around.
But that oomph, it's just something everybody does when they hit something and make your little sound effects. This is behind Roberts, which is a camera store downtown, and it's an alleyway. It was kind of scary sometimes because we were running into people that we were like, what the hell are they doing back in these alleyways? It was kind of fun, though.
Here's actually one of the first scenes in the movie that Jason's not in.
No.
The couple with Rusty.
Yeah, because you have like 2 or 3 total.
Yeah.
Look at that picture back there.
Oh yeah, the picture over Little George's shoulder is of Al Pacino in The Godfather. We kind of wanted it. We wanted it to be in Little George's office just so that he was, you know, he was sort of our Godfather character for part of the movie. More of, you know, having the names in there and whatnot. I wanted it to be like, you know, that's who he wants to be is the Godfather, and that's who he's aspiring to be. And then, I mean, in that scene, it was pretty much just him and Tony discussing stuff that takes the audience on this what's going on for real type journey.
Then we have this whole scene, which is the first scene with one of our veteran actresses by the name of Annette Reynolds.
Actually, we got your brother's scene
Oh, my
first.
fault, my fault.
Yeah. This is, this could have been better. I would have liked for it to have been better. This wasn't this is actually the upstairs of my house, the loft area. At the last minute, the location we wanted to use for Richie's office or not Richie, Reginald's office fell through, so we had to kind of quickly move it up to my upstairs. And because of that, and having already filmed the other part, I didn't get the camera to be exactly the way that I wanted it to be for the pull out and stuff. But I still feel that it works for the movie. I tried to cut it around so you couldn't see the big opening behind Jason. But you basically have this character. One thing, when somebody read the script, they basically said that it's about a movie that's got a bunch of supporting actors that are all cliched, because every time he goes somewhere, somebody only has one piece of information for him. But in the grand scheme of what I was trying to accomplish in the movie, that's part of it, is because not everybody's going to know everything. And the Reginald character, played by Jason's real-life brother Dave, was just one of those people that didn't really tell him more than he already suspected. He just kind of confirmed some things. He didn't really even give him any information. He just confirmed a bunch of stuff. This scene's out of focus, which is my fault.
Just like before.
And here's the scene I was talking about, paralleling the smoking to the Rusty lighting a cigarette while he's on the phone.
This was a fun night.
This
Dion's basement.
Yeah, in Dion's basement. We filmed for 6 hours or so.
But that was upstairs and down.
Oh, that's true. We did half the stuff downstairs and half the stuff upstairs over 6 hours one night. Now we're getting into.
I'm sorry. This is the Annette Reynolds scene where you see her for the first time. We wanted to prove to the fact that there was nobody sitting on the couch, and then, oh my God, magically somebody is touching me. Annette Reynolds is
Jason
playing.
is real lucky throughout all these movies. Always being cast as the lead. Always gets the chick.
I do not. Shane had the chick in Consternate. I didn't even get to do anything with my girlfriend, the girl who played my girlfriend in Consternate. And then, I'm not doing anything to change the world. But I got a small part in women. I'm not lucky, but I need a bathroom scene like Shane had.
Well, you got a bed scene, man.
Yeah,
the bathroom scene is kind of like, what maybe did happen. You got a bed scene.
Annette's going to Ball State right now, and hopes to move out to LA when she graduates, I think.
She's really big into the acting thing, which is good, because it makes her really reliable when we ask her to do a lot of stuff. And she was great for this role, because the character of Vincent's wife being so small, it's really hard and doesn't get very developed, because everything you hear about her is negative. Because throughout the course of the movie, Vincent's talking negatively about her, all the bad things she did and stuff like that, and suspecting her of being a cheat. But a scene like this brings it back to how much Jason actually was in love with her, and really did love her.
Vincent.
I'm sorry, Vincent
You're out.
was really in love with her.
You get back, it's your job to play catch up.
And these are all in Jason's bedroom.
So if you look over the right-hand the right-hand side, there's some Buffy videotapes underneath a fan up on the window.
Thank God it's canceled next time.
What was going on while I was locked up? He was working for
Coming up is the Psycho homage.
make
Something
up
that
stories and play them out in my
I'm a big fan of Hitchcock's movies, so when we had the chance to do this, I really wanted to. Not exactly the caliber of water power.
Yeah, but not only that, but we can't get the camera in the right position either.
That's true.
We don't have water
In
protection.
this world,
No.
it's all about how you look and how you present
We
yourself.
can barely afford tapes.
My mom actually helped us out with the makeup for this scene. She got my face
People I might be
Oiled.
dealing with
oiled,
tonight.
and so when we put water on it, it made more droplets.
It beat it up the water, because we were having trouble
Never knew
getting
what I wanted to be.
I wanted
So I took
water
what I thought
droplets
was
coming
the easy
off
way
of
out.
him, like beating
Spent
down
2
his
years in
face,
the
and we
Army,
just couldn't
my
get it
dad
after about a
didn't
half
do it.
hour.
Then got them
His
to
mom
pay
came
for
in
college.
and very
Next thing I
easily
know,
showed
I
us how to
woke
do
up one
it.
day and I was a cop.
That shoulder holster is actually a
Another day,
prop
I
that
was
we
a
borrowed
crook.
from Flea, the guy who owns
Now I wake
O'Rourke's
up and I
with
find I'm a convict.
Sloan. And then the
Not too
gun
many
that we're
places you
using
can
in
go
this
now.
movie is
My limited work
for
regular
Vincent's
BB
character
gun.
is a regular BB gun, which
Full-time
made
job.
its first appearance
I'm
in
never gonna make the money I want to make.
Consternate, actually.
As
No
as
one's
the
gonna
double
hire
gun,
someone
once
like
we
me.
broke our first one.
Yeah,
They were
after the
running-
first one got ran over.
And
Talk
the
about a
knife
trouble.
and the costume.
Talk about a troubled little production there.
Oh yeah.
Falling around.
Luckily, this one being our first
So
big
special
film
about
since
this place.
Consternate went so much smoother.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I still have
It was
to
amazing
find
how
out
smooth it
about.
went. We really didn't do.
I'm a little out of the loop.
The
Luckily,
only-
I was unemployed, mainly unemployed at the time. I worked for Castleton Arts, but
concerned with making some money for
basically
myself.
unemployed. Could get any time I wanted off. Didn't have anybody, so
He knows me well enough
and
to know that I
Shane
would've
needed an
accepted
actor
right
that
there on
he
the
could
spot.
count on to be there at all times, and
Have a
I
feeling
was glad to fill that role.
There's Ryan's butt and the gun.
Huh? It's the exact same gun that Vincent's carrying.
Well, it's a popular model.
Yeah.
We had one prop gun that got shuffled around in every scene that
better
we
than
needed.
Except for the bar scene.
Yep.
The bar scene actually is a.
Early on.
Oh, that's right. The flashback scene that's going to be coming up here in a couple minutes.
Little George took
We
a
actually
bite.
used a real, I think it
In
was
the
a
beginning, I
38.
wasn't allowed to
that-
take a walk without
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. It was a Glock. The
Back
38
to
was
paranoia
something
and
that
whatever.
was. Yeah.
But after
So yeah, we used a
couple
real
times,
Glock
we're
that
done.
had no
The invitation was
ammunition in it because
extended.
there's.
Coming around on my own.
It ended up being about 1 second in the movie,
I was
but I wanted a
enticed by
shot
the riches
looking
and the
down
luxury.
the
I
side of
watched
the
it.
gun, and obviously the
I saw the
BB
cars
gun was
from the
completely fake.
The
So
restaurants he took his
Sloan
dates
allowed us
to
to
and
use
jewelry,
a real gun for that
saw it all and
sequence.
I wanted it.
This tunnel right
I was
here
good.
is actually half gone now.
Jackson
They're
pushed it
they're
like
doing
a job.
construction
Kept telling
on
me one day,
it's actually a tunnel that goes under a bunch of
telling me I
railroad
was an
tracks,
extra.
and they've been doing
He
construction
was
on it.
just
So
feeding
half
my
this
ego
tunnel's
and getting
gone
me out of
now.
my house at night.
Luckily, we got this filmed when we did.
Eventually, a pretty big job. came
This
along.
is
Jackson recommended
Probably the
me.
longest shot in the movie. Probably the most boring because
Pretty static.
it's
So I worked
pretty
as Little
static,
George's
and
right-hand man on that
I wish
job.
I could have moved
I
with
arranged
him or
everything.
done something better,
It was all
zoomed
in
back, or there's so many things we
Not much
should have
earlier,
or
a
could
very
have
large
done with
drug
this.
bust
But
made.
the day that we went downtown and filmed, we were there, 2 or 3 hours filming
I
stuff.
managed to backdoor
It
about
felt
half
like we
of it
filmed
out.
forever, but
The exchange was to be handed
in
to
all
work.
reality, it only
Our
ended up
buyers would
not
be
being
there.
enough footage for the whole movie to have him walking around places.
So I was taking the risks.
I think I pop
Little
around the
George
corner.
was getting the payoff.
Every once in a
Oh,
while.
really?
Every once. Yeah, I forget what I was doing.
Here's the
It was all supposed
vintage
to go
black
down.
and white
Sitting
flashback.
at my old table.
Oh yeah, this is Clint and Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Clint works at PS Works, and Ian used to work at Castleton Arts. But
My buyer
he's
showed
on
up with the luggage.
vacation or something.
Told
But
them that their
they were
truck
really
was
great. We
outside
just kind of
the
asked them one day to
and then we
be a part of it, and it worked out really well.
We kind of broke that briefcase. There a second ago was
opened
the
the
split
briefcase
second
to find it
shot
empty.
of the gun.
I
We
looked
pretty
at
much broke the briefcase because we threw it on the floor
Do
at
we want to
Ian.
talk about how much we broke my arm during that scene when
Oh.
Sloan was showing us how to do that move?
Yes, the choreography credit in the movie goes to Sloan, and pretty much for that scene alone.
Mhm.
Clint was having some issues with making it look real enough
got to
and not hurt so much. And Jason is a trooper. We like to make him walk, run, and get beat up.
No, it's run and get beat up.
Yeah.
Run and get beat up.
The whole walking thing, that just comes
That's
off
kinda
the
new.
territory.
We're a big fan of that. We don't know why.
Every single movie I've made for Shane so far, I've had to run at some point in time.
That's you're my Tom Cruise character that runs in every scene he's in, or every movie that he's in. This was a great. I think we got great coverage at a lot of the stuff for this movie. When I was editing it together, I don't remember many times that I had to say I wish I would have got coverage of this, because the great thing about being your own writer, director, and editor is the fact that you can pretty much piece the movie together in your head on the set. You don't have to worry about what's the editor going to use for this scene. Do I need to get cutaways? Do I need to get this for the editor? Because when you write it and direct it and are going to be the editor on it, you edit the movie in your head while you're going. You see the performances. You see, okay, well, I got to cut close to this. I need to cut close to that. And then when you're in the editing room, you make your decisions. You know, okay, I'm staying too long on Sloan. Maybe I should cut to a reaction to Jason or something. But for this scene, we just kept it one long, continuous shot instead of cutting the close-ups. We filmed the close-ups, we have them, but I just felt that it made you feel like you were actually standing there and watching them talk.
One thing I want to mention is that it's really great for production value. If you're an independent filmmaker with no production value, it's really great.
When you can get real independent.
Right, real independent. It's really great to get some of those locations because they really add to it. So then trying to recreate your own bar scene, and also it's an environment where you can control the amount of people, and it's just really great being able to film here at Castleton Arts and at Piercer Works, the bar, because we don't really have to pay for it, and we can get it when there's nobody in there, get in there when there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Let's go aside.
Coming up, we got Jay dead, which he said he scared himself. Oh, that was our little in joke with the snake eyes, the dice being on snake
Here
eyes.
comes me running.
There goes the running. Here starts the running sequence. And then we've got Richard and Jackson dead. Some more running. More running. There's gonna be one more scene of running. There we go. Zach was filming it, and I was like, dude, give me something weird. He's like, how do you want weird? So I just took the tripod leg and dropped it about halfway down lower than every other tripod leg, and got that bizarre angle. There's the girls doing their little hair flip. It's Holly Sanders, a friend of Jason's, Jenny Gentry, Zach's girlfriend, and then Kristen, my girlfriend, playing a bar person. And
Ryan was there.
Ryan was there too, but he never ended up on film, which I feel bad about because he sat there all day while we were filming, and you really can't even see him.
And this is the part where you get to actually see Sloan, and he is an entrepreneur and a man of opportunity. So
It really comes out because you can tell his speech is just pretty, it's quicker and.
yeah, it's like, Little George is dead. Oh man, I got to take over.
Yeah.
I got to do this before somebody else tries to take over. And I like it because it shows more of an asshole approach to him almost. He's got to make sure that he's looking out for number one always. So.
Oh yeah, that was the point of the character too. It was now originally the theory at one point had been that Sloane's character would take over the organization because this kind of this movie actually kind of sets up things for some other ideas that I have that I was going to bring back the character of Patrick O'Rourke as this new mob boss type person, but those really haven't turned out. We got the disappearing girl. It's about the third or fourth time somebody's been in a scene and just disappeared. And that was Sarah, who is Tony's ex-girlfriend now, but she was a really good girl because we needed a brunette and she was brunette, and all the hair you see she had one day of filming. And that was when we decided that the wig would not work. So she actually went over to the Castleton Mall and bought extensions for her hair because her hair is actually insanely short. And Jason's getting a phone call in the middle of it. No,
that's a
You
fine.
waste on film.
there's a lot of edits in here between the two girls. And everybody who watches the movie always their question is, you cut back and forth between the two girls. And I explained to them that was intentional, we did it on purpose, and that if you watch the lines that we switched to Annette's character, her character says specific lines for a reason, and then we cut back. Because here we have the brunette character, and in a minute we'll cut to the
And
blonde.
how is she standing?
Allow me to introduce
oh,
Does it remind you of something, Chin?
what is it?
Remember how she was standing in Open Your Eyes?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot all about that. The shot that you just saw of that's actually me as the Rusty character. Me and Jason and Sarah was composed to mimic Alejandro Amenabar's final sequence in Abre los Ojos, Open Your Eyes, which was later made as Vanilla Sky. But at the end of that movie, the main character looks over and sees three people standing, and they look like they're all standing next to each other, but they're in a line going away from him. and it just was so beautiful that I wanted to redo that for this shot. Thank you for reminding me of that. I had forgotten all about that. We have the giant shadow on the wall. And I took every opportunity that I could to show off the tattoo because it was one of those one-day temporary tattoos. But I wanted my character to have something unique about him, which is kind of funny because this character of Rusty makes cameos in some of our other movies, but he doesn't have his tattoo.
Perhaps a dream.
There we have Annette in the background of this sequence. This was you can't see him on camera, obviously, but we have about 6 people down in the basement right now with us, just watching as Jason and I start yelling and yelling at each other.
You owe me everything. I am giving you everything you have ever
Heated
wanted.
conversation.
Talk about getting into character for this one, 'cause I know you were having some trouble for a while.
Well, yeah, it was just,
Give me things that I don't even want.
it's, I don't know, for me as an actor, it's a whole lot easier for me to get into character when you're actually on the scene and you're actually doing it. And I think Shane and I read through this a couple of times before we ever even got down to this basement, and I just wasn't, I knew where he wanted to go, but I couldn't go there mentally until we were down on the set and we were really there, because, I don't know, I have this weird thing where I can get pissed off, but I actually am pissed off, and I can actually hurt Shane right now during, well, this scene really, just for the simple fact that it takes a lot to get me pissed off, but if I get in the right mindset, I can get so pissed off that I could have actually hurt Shane that night, and I mean, it's just my way of getting into my character. It's just, I had to wait and get into the scene and start to feel the anger that, you know, that Vincent would have towards Rusty.
There's Ryan again.
So-
You actually got to see his face. this
Yeah,
time.
we got Ryan's face, and he just magically appeared.
So
Ryan's a trooper. He helps us out from time to time.
Oh yeah, we called him that night, and we're like, dude, we're out and filming, our Bruno character backed out on us. That was the one bad thing. Everything was so smooth production-wise, but anything that went bad was really easy to smooth over, because as I've mentioned throughout this commentary, we had 3 people that for various reasons ended up not being in the movie, and all got replaced last minute. And it's just great to have the friends that we do, that you can call up and say, hey, we had somebody back out, is there any way you can come fill in? And they're always willing to help us. Here we've got kind of a Dutch or oblique angle, kind of putting me parallel in the left side of the frame, even though I'm actually leaning in at this point to make it look like I am where I am. Here we actually have 2 sound effects going over it. It's an actual heartbeat and an actual loop that my brother made of just drums, but we laid them on top of each other. There we have the bloody phone. That ends up being the last shot in the movie. About the only thing I will say about the movie is it's all about parallels. The opening sequence, the closing sequence, and then what people say in the movie will generally parallel what somebody else in the movie says. And those are some of the main clues for figuring out the movie. So now that we're in the credits, we'll be able to go through and actually thank people. There was Zach and myself again. Most of these are Zach and myself back and forth. Zach again.
Woohoo!
Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Simpsons cut.
And me again. But the one thing with us is we're kind of controlling over our material. We have specific ways that we want it done. So basically, when it comes down to it, we only rely on ourselves. And while we do bring in other people, the important stuff like Zach being our DP and Zach and I taking turns editing things, we just kind of have our role places. And there's lots. And we actually had a good, decent sized cast for this movie.
One of the greatest things I took away from this movie is where all the movies we do or we're a part of, you always can see a greater step in the filmmaking. We're getting a lot better at it.
Oh yeah.
We always see things, even if we think we got something perfect, we always find something to improve it. And I think one of the greatest things we took away from this one is kind of like depth, and actually trying to look for, let's look for a really nice red brick building we want to, or let's you know, actually scouting locations and trying to find scenes that are aesthetically pleasing. That was a lot of fun. Filming downtown.
Zach and I and Dave Lichty went downtown quite a bit, just walking around looking for places that would be good. There's we had a little bit of music from Unpainted Huff Hines. Zach's mom lent us her PT Cruiser a lot.
Yeah, she was very great. I think can hold some people and some equipment. It's pretty handy.
Most of our thank yous pretty much speak for themselves.
And they're usually the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? We use the exact same locations.
You know,
Because it helps us out, so.
it's also ease, you know. And these are just my thank yous, which I pretty much, they all speak for themselves as well.
Mo and Poe are mom
Mother.
and father.
Father.
If you want a translation.
Yeah, we need a translation from Shane language.
Yeah. Zach, I just had to put for everything, because if I listed everything the guy did for me, it'd take forever. Jason put the most time and the most effort, actor-wise, into this movie, because it was non-stop. Thank you much, Jason.
You know, an experience.
Yeah,
It's fun to do.
thank you.
And you know, and as we've said before, we just strive to just, you know, all three of us, make better movies each single time. And on top of that, you know, work on as many as possible so we can get better.
Well, that was the audio commentary for Escape. Thank you for listening to it. I am Shane M. White, and I'm out of here. Thanks for listening to the movie commentary.
And I'm Jason. I'll see you later.